and stuff like that, I guess there's air conditioning in this building and all, and it might come on and it might help us a bit.
It doesn't seem to be coming
as you
on.
see, I chose the least heat of the lamp light, and I keep that on its lowest setting.
Right.
This is the light that puts out the heat right there.
See, now that's the kind of lights, well, I don't have them that way, but mine are fluorescent. Mine are day flow lights. And there's four bulbs per head. And,
That's what that one's got
and it has 4 switches on it, so I can turn 1, 2, or 3, or 4 on.
Well, you can do 2 or 4 on that one, but go ahead.
And when it's all 4, it's equivalent to a 1,500 watt regular bulb. What do they call them? Luminescent bulbs, I guess they call them. And but it only burns incandescent. That's right. Yeah, but it only burns like a
fourth of the current.
Yeah, it's like 100 watts or 150 watts or something. I mean, it's almost nothing. And the heat, you can touch them.
Yeah,
you can. They've been on for 2 hours, and you can walk up and hold on to it. And you can't do that with tungsten lighting. I mean, you get 3 or 4 tungsten lights on a set, and your actors are sweating, and it's just ridiculous. So I've got those day flow lights, and I got big square, 32-inch square
soft lights
boxes for them. And then I've got one that's on a stand that I put a weight on the side, and I can extend it up 8 feet and go 8 feet over, so I can go over top of somebody and light down on them or behind them if I'm doing green screen or blue screen. Which if I'm editing,
you got a shotgun mic and a boom.
I do. I got a boom, and I was listening a while ago, and the guy said he could hear the people fumbling around on the pole. He could hear that noise, and it dawned on me that perhaps he doesn't have a shock mount.
If you look in a box over there and find yourself a cup, maybe you can find a cup. Is there still a cup available over there? Dude.
I'm so glad to have another girl at the tea party.
I'm sure we'd have worn one of your hats.
It dawned on me that he may not have a shock mount at the end of his boom. Which
I don't think he was talking about hand.
That's what it sounded to me like. He said he could hear him rustling around on the poles.
Yeah, advertising my show.
I thought he was hearing
2 p.m.
something
Saturday?
different.
Yeah,
2 p.m. Saturday hat show.
Just about.
And I think they've got a
don't
foam
wear
rubber
any ugly
handle on
hats
that
anymore.
Oh, do they?
They're pretty ones.
I found though, even without my shock mount on it, even with that foam, you can still hear it. So I put a shock mount.
I think they've got a shock mount.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know how they could have heard that.
I think they've got. I think the system here is right. I think it just has to do with where it was being.
It might have been.
I think it was that he was moving and he wasn't holding it still. See, here's the thing. This guy was mic'd with a lapel mic, and then you've got the shotgun coming in. Well, if the shotgun was like not staying on him,
the shotgun has to be right.
It's just like
if
you'll sit there and just talk.
Yes,
and
you can hear the difference.
This moves around,
it's not omnidirectional.
The whole room, directional. And that's why the shotgun is extremely directional. So it's and so when it comes into play, suddenly there's phase variations that are coming into play very sharply and then being taken out very sharply. And I think that's what they were hearing. That's what's
the assumption.
I've taken my shotgun mic and I use it if I've just got one actor.
Yeah.
If I've got more than one, I will put a omnidirectional stereo mic.
Well, you know that. You have no control.
And I'm able to have a sound guy just hold it somewhere in the mix, and you can. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And what kind of mic do you use? Is it something fancy or is it just cheap?
No, my shotgun mic.
No, your stereo.
My stereo mic was about $400.
What is
the brand name of it?
I wanted to know.
Presentation fairly well.
I will get that name for you.
Because a good stereo mic you can use on a boom.
Yeah.
That's under $1,000 loose is
not perfect,
pretty good deal.
Yeah. It was about $499, and my shotgun mic was about $699.
What's its brand? Do you know
I
that?
can't remember. It starts with an A.
AKG?
Video class.
Maybe.
It's not Audio Technica.
They're talking about all this arcane stuff right
There's
now.
Audio Technica's AKGs and Sennheisers are your... And Buyers. Mine's a Buyer.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
My stereo mic's a Sennheiser, I think.
Is it?
I think.
Okay, that makes a good mic.
That's what I brought in here.
You have those Sennheisers. You like them? They were cheap mics. I mean,
they were very cheap.
Yeah.
I got them for a good deal on the website.
It's
our friends.
of his.
You know what I'm talking about? And because I don't know how much we sell
As the
TV.
package, the three Sennheiser package, I've seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just it's cheap.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
You're right, and they're great mics, aren't they?
I'm telling you, I was picking up. I had to have them close the doors because I was picking them up, and I thought there was people out here talking, and I found out they were sitting down. No, they wasn't even in the office. They were sitting plumb down there where Jonathan sat.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And I was picking them up through the mics.
You see, we're just ignoring it. Oh, it's a good cookie.
And every time they would bend over and whisper at each other, I could hear every word they were saying, and they were trying to be quiet.
They thought they were.
So I got to where I started muting their mics out. I'd reach over and I'd mute when they started whispering. I'd mute their mics out.
You should mute Don's mic out when he gets ready to throw a good one. You know, he'll go on and on. Won't he?
Pontificate.
I watched it for a while and I thought, well, is he going to let any of these other people say?
What's he talking about, by the way?
Who, Don?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
What were they talking about?
Yesterday, would you say? Okay, you tell, because you watched the whole show. What was he talking about yesterday?
Yesterday we had two couples on here that their sons had been murdered. And one is still in going through the process of being prosecuted, and the other got off somehow or another. Ron Moore managed to plea bargain with him or something. It was self-defense, and he got out of prison in 18 months. And he had stabbed that boy 11 times, and it was all through the back and the back of the head, and somehow or another got off with self-defense.
Right, and the other boy wasn't even armed, was he?
Right, he wasn't even armed or anything.
So you could stab somebody to death,
if in their back,
and you get 18 months, you know.
And then of course we had Carl Mumpower on from 6:15 until 6:30, which was phenomenal.
He was on last night. Tell me about that. I didn't know that.
Yes, he came
Tell me
in
that
here
part. I haven't heard a thing.
and he gave his response to why he walked out of the meeting the other day. So I guess
About
it was
zoning?
It wasn't about zoning. It was I forget what it was about now. But he walked out, and the reason is because it was the vice mayor running the show because the mayor's gone on vacation or whatever, or gone somewhere, and the vice mayor would not allow him the time to represent his side and issues. So he felt like, well, if I'm not going to be allowed to speak, then I'm going to just not even be here. There's no point in me even being here. So he got up and walked out. And I probably didn't say it the correct way that he actually said it last night. And if I did, I apologize.
But you're doing the best you can.
But I'm doing the best I can recollect with my headache and everything I had. But it was a very nice pleasure meeting him. And I tell you what, I don't know how anybody here, think what they think about him or whatever, but most of the time when you see something going on in Asheville, it's Carl Mumpower that's getting it done, and he's actually out there doing it. I've seen him out there digging post holes for fences, putting them up. I've seen him out there shoveling trash off the riverbanks, and so I mean that's a leader by example, in my opinion. And so but it was a good show. It was a real good show. He's dazed for some reason. but it was a good show, and then of course we found out that we were going for another hour after I'd already rolled the credits.
Right.
But
and did you roll those credits again?
Did you have guests yet? Did you have more ground to cover?
It was
no big deal. Just do it again.
It was Richard, Don, and Paul, I think's his name. I don't know why I don't know his name, but then again, I've only been around him twice. So, but the other guy. So they just kind of sat here and chatted a little while, and then there was a class, I guess, an orientation class that came in.
Hold y'all, I gotta go.
No, I was just getting to you now.
Oh,
what are you getting ready to do? Go shoot.
Well, there's some musicians up at the French Broad Brewing Company, so I thought I'd go take the camera out, and then I'm gonna help Raven on a shoot. Maybe tomorrow do some yoga off the Parkway somewhere. And then,
nice.
I'm working on this other job, which is going to be a cooking show, which is with Wild Game. So I'm gonna start doing the interviews for that. So.
Are you gonna shoot some of that wild game tomorrow and go cook it the next day
No
yourself?
way.
You know what I need? I need a
No,
camera
bing,
that
bang.
sits over here and catches the two people on that side of the table,
Yeah.
and one that hangs here and catches the two people on that side of the table. You see what I mean?
So that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go see if I can go catch the bands while they're playing.
Was the tea okay? Did you?
Oh my gosh, this was the greatest tea, John.
Did you really like it?
I'll be back.
Oh, please do.
Okay.
Good tea maker.
It's really good. Thank you.
Excellent.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
It's from Wu Yi Mountain in China.
Woo yee.
Wu Yi.
Woo yee. See you guys.
Leave that door open if you would. I know Jonathan closed it because we talked about the sound, but we need the air. You know you need some air in here.
You do.
And we can't. You probably found it. Well, I don't know. They wouldn't even let you open that door probably. But even if they had, they won't let you. You can't open that window. It's like sealed shut. So we're just, the air problem is.
Yeah, remember when I roasted the coffee and it was all smoky and Jonathan came? You're gonna trip the smoke alarm here.
Right. We roasted coffee in here one time.
You know what we need to do? We need to extend that cable and try to do a live show outside once.
Well, we have these BNC connectors all over the building. Everywhere has one, so
That would
you
be
can
very
plug
nice.
in anywhere.
Up there,
and we have
around the table.
We have several of these coaxial cables that will, and we have several ends where you can stick them together, so we can extend it.
Should we bring our own lawn chairs?
And just go out, just go outside.
Yeah.
When
Around that table out there?
when in nice weather and stuff.
Experiment the tea party first.
Well, there's a table sitting out there, that
Yeah,
concrete
that-
table that's round.
Yeah.
We could have the round table.
And if that works, then perhaps I can get Don and them to go outside one night for a show, and have a crowd come down
Yeah,
and watch it. I don't know how much.
because we
street
have
noise
lovely
we get.
weather in the evening here from
How much
4
street
o'clock
noise do
on.
you think would be over there?
No way to know till you try it, but I imagine. Well, the buildings will cut off a lot from the Tunnel
That's right,
Road
there's
side.
another building.
We'll be protected from Tunnel Road, and the noise from the highway. They're a little bit down in the cut there, so I'm assuming it won't be too bad. But there's going to be some noise.
There'd be some, but it wouldn't be too bad. They're doing something up there today. I noticed they got three
Yeah, they
big old
had some.
tents.
Yeah, looked like they were barbecuing
Up
out
where?
there. or
Outside?
something.
Just right outside the building here. It's three big old.
Like there may be food.
Tents.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what it was. I couldn't tell.
Well, we may have to close the party down a little earlier. Do one of y'all want to go out and see? Can you bring a plate of?
It looked like it might have been
Barbecue.
a private party.
How private?
I don't know.
It's
Well,
outside.
you go out there and find out. We'll hold down the show.
I could go for a barbecue plate or something. You know what I mean?
I know.
You want a cookie?
I know.
I already had a cookie.
By the way,
I think I'll have a piece of
you know,
cookie.
we do
They're good,
finally
but
have a good barbecue place in town. Not any of that fake barbecue that they cook in.
Really, we have real barbecue now.
We
Pit
have-
cooked barbecue, real.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I
Down
know.
by the river.
Oh, so where is it? Tell me. Oh yeah, I've been there.
Did you think it was good barbecue?
It's all right.
You,
It was all right. What I had was
you
all
weren't
right.
orgasmic over it?
Don't think
Well,
I was
where do you
okay.
think is a good barbecue place?
Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah, most of them actually down in the low, in the not exactly the flatlands, but you need to. I've known most of the best ones that I've known down
Yeah, those are
in the
good.
Are they good?
in the foothills. I find-
Piedmont.
No, yeah, Piedmont and foothills, but not quite into the flatlands. Although I'm sure it does. You can get there's Lexington and
I don't like Lexington barbecue.
okay.
It's too. I don't
I
like
like-
Can I ask
Missouri
you a personal
barbecue.
question?
Depends. Yeah.
He's a psycho magnet. He confessed that today.
No, I was curious, and you can answer or not,
Uh-huh.
and you may be, and I just not aware of it. But I was curious to know why you wasn't on the board here, or if you
I'm
are.
not. No. Oh.
Because you would make a good input.
You can't just can't just be on the board.
Well, I understand. I understand, but I mean,
Well, okay. To begin with, the board was put together by, I believe, the city council and people like that selected who would be on the board, and they put them together. I wasn't really privy to that process as
Now
it
they're
happened.
looking for a member, though, aren't they?
There's a
member.
there's a seat opening up for a member to be on the board, and Joe, who was running right here, who was sitting right here, there he is. Have you heard us talking about you?
No, but I got a sixth sense and I know what is going on.
Well, come on in and sit down here. Don't drink this cup of tea, but we give you another one if you want it.
How about let me drink this?
Drink whatever you want, just not that one. That one's
I'll
dirty.
drink grape water.
I got dirt in it. Huh? Okay.
Grape water.
Well, oh no, I told him. I said, Don, he'll just go on and on and on, won't he? I said, I didn't think he's gonna let those other poor people talk at all.
They've been talking about the show.
And I knew if you heard me say that, you would say, well, that was true.
No, as a matter of fact,
I'm not the
I
first
did
one.
something.
I'm not the first one to say that.
You're not the first one to
I
say
know
that.
it.
Hey, some of those board members out there know me real well, like Nelda Holder too.
And now what?
Nelda Holder's known me for a long time. Oh yeah, she'll tell you the same thing.
You're right.
But
how did they feel about your show? Did they see it? Did anybody say they
I don't
seen
know.
it?
I've not had time today. I've been following up on what happened in Transylvania County last night.
All right, go ahead.
You go home and turn the TV on, and guess what you see in Transylvania County?
Nothing.
No, you see that Huckabee,
Okay.
who was in Columbia,
Right.
speaking at the
He's in Transylvania?
Republican debates, was in Transylvania last night.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And there was some folks that were really interested in finding out what Huckabee had to say.
Right.
And they would like to have gone. So I called and found out that it was really, in reality, a high dollar major contributor for his presidential campaign. And we kind of had a joke with some folks. They said he walked in the room, said, I'm a Baptist minister, and passed the hat. So that's what I just brought in out there. See, we're fixing to pass the hat. I just brought in two cases of paper towels.
Okay.
And we still need a couple of cases of toilet paper. So we're asking for somebody to bring some, go by.
We need some toilet paper here at the studio. Go ahead and stop by Sam's.
I think
and get
the-
some.
Yeah, stop by Sam's and get a case of toilet paper. Bring
Bring
it on
it over
over.
here. You
Who's
can
the
get
manager
that 90
Well, you mean
rolls
the
in a pack.
director?
Director.
The big
That'll go
rolls.
a long
Pat.
way.
Yeah, I think she said last night after the show that perhaps we shouldn't have said we needed toilet paper on there.
Well, why
So
not?
now we've said it again.
Because that keeps you
There's
from.
only one thing we can't say.
No, there's a couple things we can't say.
Well, we
can't talk about-
we can talk
Anyway.
about personal needs.
Anyway, as long as you're here, just let me tell you, despite all my reservations, okay, you're getting really good reviews, and I'm just as proud of your show as I can be. Because
Even though he's the exact opposite in his personal beliefs.
on some issues.
Hey.
But
You know, he and I talked a while the other day. And you see, being a Republican that I am, and it's not about politics. There is 11 commandments that Reagan had, and the 11th commandment was don't criticize somebody of your own party. In other words, if you work at URTV, don't talk bad about URTV. If you have a problem with somebody here, you handle it internally. Well, I subscribe to Reagan's 12th commandment. And you know what that is? If he and I can agree on 80% of the things, he's got another 20% to do whatever he wants to, and he has to give me 20% to do whatever I want to do. Doesn't that make sense?
But when you're doing your show,
I can't argue with that.
when you're doing your show, you get to present things that in the light that you want them to be in
Sure.
and stuff like that. And when I do my show, I'll present them in the light that I want them to be in.
And we're going to have to think of a topic that we can
and I'll
debate
darn
on.
sure
However, anybody can come on our show.
Yeah.
No matter
And
what.
anybody can come
Well,
on.
Anybody can
apparently,
listen.
apparently, so can they on my.
That's right, because I'm here. I'm here.
So, and I told everybody, I said I got my Tuesday show knocked because every Tuesday I can spend the show refuting everything he had to say on Wednesday. See, so I got material.
Yeah, if you have a low ebb in the show, you can just bring up some controversy, some political controversy.
Well, one of the
But
things.
actually, we've been getting along great, don't you
But
think?
yeah, I think so, and one of the things I think is important.
Well, actually, I would vote Republican, and I'm a dyed-in-the-wool independent if Michael Bloomberg goes.
Well, I think here's the key thing about.
Yeah, but that's not Republican.
No,
It's
well,
something
the key
like
thing about politics is this: people make decisions politically and forget who they are. and you should never do that. You should always be who you are, regardless of where you're at. And I think one of the things you just said is very, very important, and that's why somebody called in on my first show and asked me what's the future of URTV. The future of URTV is based upon the folks out there that's watching and upon us, because the future is in our hands with this medium here, and where if we are going to keep it open, we must make it open, and we must be able to debate different issues.
And you were against URTV, weren't you?
Well, it's amazing. I wasn't in the very, very beginning. Back in 2000, when I was a Democrat in my former life, one of my platforms...
Before you lost your mind.
Before.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One of my platforms was open government. And what I envisioned for URTV was to be that vehicle that open government was maintained. But what happened to the big pot of money that funds URTV?
What happened? That's what I
Where's
want to
our
know.
money? Where is our money?
It got split up, dear. You got the city educational channel, you got the county educational department, you've got the city channel and the county channel, and URTV, one of 5. That all should have been tied into one bundle, because right now we need to know what's going on in these board meetings. I mean, we've got board meetings going all over town. As a matter of fact, I'm sorry I'd have brought you a board and put you on a board. And if I set you on a board, you got all kinds
They were
of power.
trying to put me on the board before you got here.
Well, good. I like that. That's good, because once you get on the board, you got power. But these board meetings are where everything's discussed. It's where morals are discussed. It's where everything is discussed, and yet we don't see what goes on. As a matter of fact, in 2000, when I first started watching government in Buncombe County didn't even take minutes of the board meetings. And in reality, the boards that are set up are bequeathed the power that they are from the county commissioners. See, the whole government structure in North Carolina is really messed up, because in 30s during the Depression, all these little municipalities said, we don't have no money, we ain't got nothing. They passed all the power to Raleigh. Then Raleigh had all the power, and then Raleigh said, okay, county commissioners, we'll give you this little corner of your county to run. These are the things you can address, but these are the things you can't address. Then the county commissioners set up these boards. Well, these boards are actually an extension of the county commissioners, which I think, according to something that we will all agree on sitting around this table, or we wouldn't be doing what we're doing, is open government. Open, wide, open government. That's the key right there. So in open government, I was going to promote public access TV. What bothered me is the way it was massaged and manipulated and set up, because it split it out into 5 different areas.
Well, we should just kick some butt and get all the money for here.
You heard that before.
We need the money. We want the money.
Yeah.
So
No,
we're going
it's
to
a
get our
good
money.
point, though. No, I'm letting him go because it's fine.
Well, that's why he's letting me go, because he agrees with me.
But I don't want you to be redundant. I mean, if it's exactly what you've already covered on your show, then don't talk so much about it. You know what I mean?
Well, the key thing is,
inspired and you're going in sort of in a new territory.
there's some people. Well, I'm inspired because there's a comment that was said, and I got an email back yesterday from Carl Mumpire, who was on the show here.
Okay, and I'd like to hear about it.
And one of the comments, remember what Carl said when he first walked in the room?
What did he say?
You'll love this, John. And I don't know who you are.
I'm the hat lady. I have a show tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock on how to make felt hats.
Well, do you
Don't wear any other hats anymore.
Do you get excited when you make felt hats?
Of course.
And
I
it
get
gives you-
excited when I do anything that's beautiful.
Does it make you feel good when you put on a hat?
It really
Well,
makes me feel good with all the
glamorous.
attention I get.
Glamorous. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Carl Mumpire said when he walked in the room yesterday and sat down, he felt good energy.
Well, good. I'm hoping that good energy will have an effect on Mr. Mumpower, and will broaden and enlighten his vision
Of what
the
URTV
world
can
around
do. I
him.
want to enlighten his vision of what URTV can do.
Yes, URTV, if you do anything creative,
Well, he's
film
get-
it and make a show out of it and bring it here.
He's getting some good press on URTV, not out of me, but
Well, that's fine. That's fine. See?
but
That's fine.
but I ain't holding anybody else back. You know what I'm saying? You
And don't forget Wednesdays at 4 o'clock, our live show.
That's right.
Oh, what?
They're at 4
We only got
Wednesdays
about 1 minute.
regularly.
I wanted to plug
We've
that.
only got 1 minute
No,
left.
I think we're going to 7. Oh,
Yeah, we're going
Yeah,
to
well,
6:59.
Well, hey, why
oh
don't we
my
just
God!
teach?
Oh, I got things I got to say. We got to introduce.
We'll just teach the class in here.
I've got to introduce the scientifically proven facts that if it's something moving on the screen and noise coming out of the box, people will sit and watch it.
Yep.
Scientifically proven fact.
And the uglier the picture, the more they watch, right?
And
By the way, I'm JV. Nice to meet you.
and also that we have to scientifically proven fact that things are a lot more like they are now than they ever have been.
Really?
And that is so true.
Right.
It's deja vu.
And I had something that I was wanting to share about. It had to do with all that stuff about the. Oh yeah, here it is, and we'll just see how long it goes. We're coming up on the time period when our memberships are running out. Our memberships are for a year. Now we've got, I think, something in excess of 600 members now. Okay. However, a great big chunk of them, their memberships will be running out in a year. The year is
Pretty
about
soon.
up for them, right? So we,
Now, that's more than Atlanta, Georgia, right?
I think Atlanta, Georgia is 100 and something,
Well, if
Okay.
Asheville really
and we
is important, and it's important to express yourself, then all those members will re-up, right?
well, yeah.
Asheville, Chapel Hill, and Raleigh, as well as Free Speech TV on the Dish Network.
This week, we'll hear reports of the police brutality which occurred in Los Angeles, California during a May 1st immigrant rights demonstration.
And later on in our program, we'll be reporting on recent environmental news, ranging from U.S. oil giant Occidental Petroleum being found responsible for destruction in the Amazon, to federal requests for longer prison sentences for eco-crimes.
In our top story this week, the city of Los Angeles is facing criticism after its police department deployed batons and more than 200 rounds of rubber bullets to clear out a park where immigration rights activists were holding a rally on May 1st. In the aftermath, 2 officers were demoted and the mayor promised an investigation. The FBI said it will also open a preliminary inquiry to determine whether the civil rights of protesters were violated. Officers say they came under attack with plastic bottles and other objects from a group of agitators and then decided to clear the park. Officers dressed in riot gear then moved in, pushing people, hitting some with batons, and firing 240 rubber bullets. Reporters and others later said they had no warning. Criticism of the police action at MacArthur Park is growing, along with potential legal and political consequences arising from scenes of rally-goers and journalists being struck by officers. State Assembly Speaker Fabian Nunez said, quote, "To say we are outraged is an understatement. We want those responsible in the highest levels of the LAPD to pay consequences." Victor Naro, an attorney with the National Lawyers Guild, noted that in one videotape, he saw police fire a rubber round at a boy who appeared to be 10 and toss him aside like a piece of meat.
Demands are escalating in Iraq's National Assembly for a scheduled U.S. troop withdrawal from Iraq. Some 133 Iraqi lawmakers from different political blocs, calling themselves the Free Deputies, signed a document demanding a scheduled withdrawal of the U.S.-led multinational troops from their country. A legislator from the Sadrist bloc, Saleh al-Olakali, told reporters that his group initiated the document ahead of a UN Security Council review on Iraq slated for next month. The Sadrist bloc, whose cabinet members had resigned, represents members of a group led by Shiite leader Muqtada al-Sadr, who has been calling for setting a timetable to end the U.S.-British occupation of Iraq. Okali said the memo signed by the lawmakers in the 275-seat parliament would be handed over to the UN Security Council and its Secretary General, the Organization of Islamic Conference, and the Iraqi government.
President Bush and congressional leaders have begun negotiating a second war funding bill, with Democrats agreeing to drop their demand for a timeline to bring troops home from Iraq.